The research I've been doing is looking at what planners can do to help aid the establishment of seaweed aquaculture on Vancouver Island. So I've been interviewing both planners and people who work in the seaweed aquaculture industry to find out what policies should be created to help the industry expand in a sustainable manner. So seaweed aquaculture is a really interesting type of aquaculture because it actually has a lot of environmental benefits. So you don't get anywhere near the same negative environmental impacts that you see from things like salmon farming. So seaweed aquaculture not only could be a very important source of food for Vancouver Island, but it could also go a long way to helping us work towards being a more environmentally friendly community. And also it can provide a new economic opportunity for coastal communities who are struggling with decline in other economic areas, such as declining fish stocks and the closure of salmon farms. This event has been very helpful in helping me work out how I'm going to convey the research to a wider audience. For a lot of the project I've just been writing for an academic point of view, so it's really interesting to come and try and see which bits of the information really stick with people who maybe don't have a background or don't have a planning in seaweed aquaculture already, and see how they respond to it and what sort of questions they ask for it. So it's really interesting just to share the research with a new audience and see what sort of feedback you get from it. And I think this research could be really helpful because it's really helped me understand how our island food systems work and how important food systems can be to community members on Vancouver Island. And I just think an awareness of this growing industry will really help if there are community members in the places that I'm working who are interested in setting up this industry. So it's an emerging industry, so there is a lot more that's being learned every single day. In other parts of the world it is much more established, but here on the West Coast it's only really began to gather speed over the last few years. So there's lots of exciting innovations, such as new types of seaweed that actually work really well for farming, and new things people can do with seaweed. So I know they're developing a biofuel and even plastics that are more biodegradable that can be made from seaweed. So I think if you're even a little bit curious, there's just so many more different things you can learn about. So I do think it's just a good way to go out and explore the local environment, and also kind of changes your perception. As soon as you're near the coast and you see some seaweed, it's just a new way of thinking about the environment that's around you.